statement and call the roll.
Be advised that proper notice has been given by the Township Council in accordance with the Sunshine Law in the following manner. Notice advertised in the Burlington County Times and Camden Courier Post on March 1st, 2022, and posted on the bulletin board on the same date. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Jenny?
Here.
Ms. Pareo?
Here.
Mr. Lyon?
Here.
Mr. Burrell?
Here. Thank you, Jamie. Before we begin with our official agenda items, we first have a presentation of a proclamation for Sharon Hurd, the Vice Commander of VFW Post 3020. So at this time, I'll ask for the mayor. Mayor will take lead, and council will head down, and we can have Sharon come on up. Speak. Okay, that mic is wireless. You can use that one. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. It's not like I need it. Good evening, everyone. Before we get started, I'd ask Councilman Lynn Jenny to explain what's going on here and the significance about tonight.
Tonight we are going to show recognition to a veteran of military. And why are we doing this? We have decided that to value our veterans, we have to demonstrate it. You know, it's not just saying yes and saluting the flag, but for civilians and people who have not been in the military, for example, as well as those in the military, we want to show our respect and thankful, how thankful we are for the veterans who serve in our country. We sent out in the mercantile license renewal a questionnaire asking if they would provide parking spaces, provide discounts, are they a veteran-owned business? And we received 42.1% returns already, and all the license renewals are not back in. But 42% of the people we sent it out to are interested in doing something to show our veterans that we value them. This is a statewide program. And in this program, as we accomplish different goals, we will receive points for what we do. And at some point, at 145 points, which is a tall mountain to climb, we will be certified at, say, New Jersey as a We Value Our Veterans community. And that is our goal. Tonight, we're taking our first step to recognize one of our veterans and begin the process.
So I'm going to read the proclamation, everyone. Anyone would like to take some pictures, that's okay too. And let's get started. It's a lot of whereases and therefore. Okay, so whereas in 2005, Sergeant Sean Hearn started his career in the United States Marine Corps, receiving his training in Paris Island as an infantryman, where he later a helicopter crewman. And whereas in the spring of 2008, Sergeant Sean Hearn was deployed to Iraq, where he served in an infantry capacity and as a critical component facilitating casualty evacuation operations to CH-4060 helicopter units in Al-Taqada. And whereas, after completing a 10-month tour in Iraq, Sergeant Sean Hearn continued his Marine Corps career until the winter of 2012. And after 7 years of faithful service to the United States Marine Corps, Sergeant Sean Hearn retired due to an injury he sustained in the Iraq War. Whereas, during his time with the United States Marine Corps, Sergeant Sean Hearn earned numerous certificates of commendation, meritorious masks, and awards including Expert Marksmanship Badge, the Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, Combat Action Ribbon, and the Naval Unit Commendation Medal. And whereas Sergeant Sean Hearn continues to serve the community as a member of the local VFW Post 3020 and currently serves as a Senior Vice Commander. And whereas it is with great respect and appreciation that we pay special tribute to Sergeant Sean Hearn, United States Marine, as an outstanding veteran who has devoted himself to serve our great country. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that on this day, March 8, 2022,
Thank you and congratulations. All right, first up on our agenda is minutes for approval. I need a motion approving the minutes of the October 5th, 2021 public meeting.
So moved, Tom Line.
I'll second, Marlo Smith.
Roll call, Jamie, please.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up is a motion approving the minutes for the October 26th, 2021 action, work session, and closed session meeting. Can I get a motion in a second?
The motion?
Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Abstain.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Next up, we have ordinances on second reading. First is ordinance 2022-02, an ordinance establishing establishing salaries for various employees of the Township of Delran, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, and regulating the manner of payment of the same. This requires a public hearing on this ordinance, so I'll ask for a motion to open the floor to public comment on this ordinance.
So moved, Tom Line.
I'll second, Marlo Smith.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now open to public comment on ordinance 2022-02. If there's anyone in the public who wishes to speak, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor.
Motion, Tom Line.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. The floor is now closed to public comment. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-02.
Motion? I'll second.
Second. Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The ordinance is adopted. Next up is resolution 2022-53. This is authorizing an agreement with EMS services with the Delran Emergency Squad. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second?
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. A resolution is adopted. Next up, Jamie, do you want all these in the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I left
Yep, that's
the
fine.
motions on each one.
Yep, so next is a consent agenda, which includes resolution 2022-54, all the way to resolution 2022-57. Are there any objections to the items within the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve all those items in the consent agenda, please.
So moved, Tom Line.
Second?
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is adopted and all the resolutions within. Next, we have our motions. I need a motion authorizing the payment of bills, including all purchases made under the cooperative purchasing agreement.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next up is a motion accepting the report of the CFO, including the February year-to-date revenue report, year-to-date budget report, and February check register.
Motion?
Second would be great.
Second, Tom Line.
Thank you. Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next up is a motion accepting the report of the tax collector and the township clerk. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Our final motion is a motion granting the mercantile license to 3 businesses within our agenda. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved, Tom Line.
I'll second, Marlo Smith.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo? Aye. Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. The motion carries. And we're at our reports. So first up, we have representatives from the emergency service and our chief, the fire department, Chief Peak. I know you have a meeting, so hopefully you're still good on time?
Yeah.
Okay, good, perfect.
I'd be Good evening, and thank you for.
Good evening, Chief.
On this behalf, I did have a report from January 1 on which date, meaning that I wasn't able to make any decisions to report on the topics of the township. So for year-to-date calls of service, we have 107 calls for service from January 1 to date. In January alone, we had 50 calls. On the first of the year, we assisted citizens with a motor vehicle accident on the automatic mutual aid. Delrange Rescue is on their grave strengthening with entrapment in their local, uncertain parts of their town. The rescue was quickly recalled due to the nature of the incident and was handled by District 20 alone. Thank you to the members of the council on behalf of the president of Station 231 on Bridgeburg Road for attending the installation dinner of their officers back in January. On the 18th, we again with Cinnamon. They were operating on a house fire in their local. We were dispatched to the new Palomar Harbor section of town where a contractor constructed a gas line. We were standing by and we were more happy with that. On the 26th, an engine from Chester Avenue Station responded out to, was detailed out to Joint Base MDL for a cover assignment while they honored the fallen firefighter from base and their services. In February, we had 43 calls for service. On the 5th, the Bridgeburg Road Station responded to Willenboro for a house fire. On the 6th, at Chester Avenue Station, the rescue responded to Florence for a special call for service for a house fire. During the snowstorms that came through in February, both stations were staffed before, during, and after the storms came through. Because of the timing of the storms and the residents heeding to the warnings of all the agencies, both fire, EMS, and township, a lot of people stayed off the roads, stayed inside if they had to, and the call volume was very low as far as the fire department. We did, however, respond with a squad to help them shovel walkways and clear paths in the future to bring somebody out of the stretcher, just to make it easier for them. The 2nd of March, the department was dispatched to Chestnut Street and 3rd Street for a motor vehicle accident. The fire department squad responded and arrived within minutes of this dispatch. They were reported to us, it was just a simple injury, no entrapment. When we got on location, there wasn't entrapment. Female was trapped in the passenger side of the car. Upon arriving, I upgraded the assignment, and within upgrading the assignment, we had the victim's presentation executed within 5 minutes and put in the EMS care, and she was transported onto the hospital. On the 7th, the department was dispatched to the 300 block of Nicholas Drive in the Garden Club in Delran. It was for a fire alarm activation going off with no contact with the homeowner. We did our 360 of the building. There was nothing in evidence on the outside. We were able to ladder the balcony to see if we can get in through a possible open balcony door. We were not able to. There was no signs of smoke or any kind of danger inside. However, we don't like to let those things go. We want to make sure we restore things back to where they should be. So we did force entry into the house. We had PD with us, and because it was an occupied structure, or appeared to be an occupied structure, PD went first to clear the residence to make sure there was no foul play inside. Upon them getting to the back of the residence, there was a man that fell in the bathroom and was semi-conscious in the bathroom. There was also a candle lit inside the kitchen area, which was still continuing to burn, but him being semi-unconscious in the bathroom. So, the fire alarms were going off just due to a malfunction. So I don't know if somebody was on his side that night and set off the alarms for somebody to hear or not, but my word from the squad was by the time they got to the hospital, he was awake to where talking with the EMTs and medics that were transported to the hospital. So that's a good thing. And throughout the 3 months, we've assisted the EMS on a multitude of calls and calls for service. Thank you to those that came out in support of the budget. It is officially passed, and Commissioner Kachari and Commissioner Franco are re-elected to their rightful positions of the Commission Board. We've had 14 additional solar panel installations passed down to us from the construction office. They've been inputted into our system so that we know if we're arriving to a house fire, that there's not going to be solar panels involved in the process that we have to do to secure the panels and power the house from those panels. The department is very active and proactive in training. As you all know, we do ice and water rescue during the winter months. If we have ice, we didn't get very good ice this year. During weekends, we do drivers training. Every Monday, we're training. Our duty crews are training throughout the week at those stations. One thing that we do proactively do is new construction awareness. we do a lot of walkthroughs of all of our new constructions within our local and also our response area. Last year, I reported that we did a walkthrough of Carvana, not necessarily new construction, but a newer layout of the building. We decided to do a walkthrough with the Lanco Fire, Beverly Fire, Riverside Fire, just to get acclimated to the building because we are on their initial walk to that building. We've done walkthroughs of the new construction in Riverside Township going up along the riverfront, along the railroad tracks. We've done walkthroughs of the Chester Woods development that's going up, and we've recently done Foxtail Creek over off Hartford Road. We've done walkthroughs of those buildings during our 3 hours, roughly around 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. We do this proactively because we get to see the bare bones of the structure, get to see what the structure is made of, how it's made of, educate our crews with the construction materials, that kind of thing. With the truss construction, just in place that are using construction now, they have an 8-minute fire rating and load rating until they possibly fail. So between us getting somebody calling 911, 911 EMB in the call, them dispatching us getting to the stations, us getting on the road, those 8 minutes are very impactful. So we have to be sure that we know what we're doing when we're doing some of the construction. We go out there proactively. We don't need to do any harm doing the buildings. We do a walkthrough. We give you the enter of the buildings and we come right back out. Finally, this weekend is daylight savings time. If you have a smoke detector or carbon monoxide alarm, make sure you guys check your batteries, change your batteries, and test your detectors. A lot of new detectors that are coming out are a 10-year sealed battery, so you can't change the detector. But definitely test them and be sure everything works in order because you never know when you're going to need it. Thank you, Mr. President. Board.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate the update. Glad to have you back. Next up, we have from EMS, Chuck and Sweeney. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys very much. Happy to see faces finally.
Yes, good to be in person.
So, thank you again for the drafting of the resolution. We're very happy to serve Delran Township since 1939. We're very happy that we continue this commitment and this relationship with the community and also down. For the month of February, we had no bid response to 219 requests for emergency services, emergency medical services, which is about 2% off from last year. I think we have kind of recovered from our COVID dip in call volume, so we've pretty much returned to 2% off volume that we had last year. The great thing about February is our advanced life support treatments are down by about 50%. So that means people that are around are a little bit healthier, are not taking as many risks, or having heart attacks, or having traumatic injuries. So that was great to see that our reliability of the paramedics were down by 50%. In addition to what we do with obviously the rare, we do our mutual aid do service the other communities around us through mutual aid. We did go to the length of 24 times in the month of February, 46 times, along with Riverside, Cinnamon, 8 times, and Morristown 6 times. We also did rely on Morristown and Riverside, and Cinnamon to come into Delran 10 times each. So we do rely on each other for mutual aid. When our ambulance is out of the call, we do rely on everybody else. Now that COVID is kind of on its downslope, and we're building back open, we're resuming our education training as on usually third Thursday. It's for continuing education for EMTs. It's also open up to the fire department and police officers that are also EMTs. We do not need to be EMTs for the training. We're like anybody that's willing to learn to come in and so for the education. We're also getting ready to put out our 2022 fund drive. Obviously, with COVID, I think our projections are going to be a little bit down this year. Obviously, with people not working and not really trying to make every big stretch. But that fund drive is about only 8% of our operating budget. So it's a very small portion of our budget. To kind of make up for that, one of the things we kind of did is we just received our lab license by the state of New Jersey, and it took a little bit longer than we thought. Thank you, Lindsay, and the mayor for helping us with that. We're going to be doing COVID-19, the EPCR testing, which is credentialed for certified for travel, which is pretty much going to go away, along with RSV and influenza training. So we're going to have that scheduled so people that need to have testing for info services for the residents of the community of Delran will be able to do it here in the building with us for EMS. We're also starting our community CPR program back up for the community. So now that we can have the building and it's open again, we'll have that up and running good. And we plan on having the EMT Academy back here where we can bring people in to train them to become emergency medical technicians and help volunteer with the squad. Thanks for doing. There's a lot going on.
Great. That's good. Good to hear.
Thank you guys again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I think that's it from emergency services. So next up, we have a report from our interim administrator, Joe Lena, for your first public meeting here at the dais. Anything for us?
Mr. President, we're just winding down the preparation of the budget. Thank you. We should we're probably ready for introduction at the meeting of April 12th,
Okay,
with a public hearing scheduled tentatively right now for May 10. So we'll firm those dates up in the days ahead.
okay, great. And you'll just work with Jamie, we'll get that.
Absolutely.
scheduled. Great.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next up, we have our reports from our clerk, Jamie Ayers.
I have
Anything?
nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. And next, report from our mayor, Mayor Katrenbaum.
Thank you, Council President. So I have a couple of things. First, I'd like to once again congratulate Sergeant Hearn and thank him for his service and dedication to our community. Really glad to see that we've begun moving forward with the most aggressive veteran recognition, and a big thank you to Councilman Jenny for your dedication in pursuing this with Delran's participation in the We Value Our Veterans program. Second, I'd like to congratulate Delran resident Tim Murphy. He was selected and served as the Grand Marshal for the Burlington County St. Patrick's Day Parade. I had the honor of presenting Mr. Murphy with a proclamation on behalf of council at their Grand Marshal dinner at Dooney's here in Delran at the end of last month. And I'd like to thank Mr. Murphy for his contributions to the community and his charity work to support programs like Project Children, which brings children from Northern Ireland to the United States for the summer. There have been a lot of unexpected financial issues that we've been looking at in the budget this year, such as the municipal solid waste contract, additional staffing needs, and infrastructure work. We're continuing to be aggressive with road and recreational, field maintenance, and much more. That being said, because of the complex and long-term planning, the hard work of Joe Bellina, who jumped in with both feet to get things done, and our professionals, I look forward to presenting council with a budget that delivers all of these and all of this and more, and will allow us to continue providing the quality and level of service for our residents while maintaining the fiscal responsibility that we all want. And finally, I'd like to wish a happy International Women's Day to the dedicated, smart, talented women who both work for the Delran Township and are part of the Delran community. I congratulate you and wish you a happy International Women's Day. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Next up, we have our report from our interim solicitor, Eileen Fahey, who's joining us on a conference line. Eileen, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Council President. I have no report this evening, but have one matter for discussion with council in executive session.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eileen. We'll look forward to that. Next up, we have our reports. Thanks, Jamie. Next, we have our reports from members of council. Starting on my far right, we'll have Councilman Marlo Smith. Councilman.
Thank you. Yeah, just real quick, again, like to congratulate Sergeant Hearn. Thank you very much. Getting old. He, obviously is just a great example of a fantastic Delran resident, and someone who's just joined the military. I mean, not everybody does that. I mean, we have a volunteer force here in our country, and as we see with recent events, it's very important to have strong individuals being part of the military. So I wanted to thank him once again. Also, as was mentioned earlier, I'd like to mention that this weekend is, we do lose an hour of sleep. We spring forward. It's probably my least favorite Sunday of the year, but just wanted to remind all residents to, set your clocks forward 2 a.m. Saturday or Sunday morning, I should say. And that's it. End of
Great.
report.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Next up, we have report from Councilman Lynn Jenny. Councilman?
Thank you. Just to reiterate, the We Value Our Veterans is a process. It's a year-long process. We'll be honoring veterans at each meeting. In fact, Sergeant Hearn is working with a committee in post 3020 so they can select a person or persons they feel most deserve the recognition. So we'll be honored to have them provide us with individuals who served our country. Also, I was on a conference with Assemblywoman Carol Murphy regarding We Value Our Veterans, and a gentleman, William McConnell, who's the Veterans Service Officer for Burlington County. We spoke, and he will be joining us as well, and he will be working with us for resource identification so we can put it on our website, and whatever we can do to do good things for our veterans, to let them know that they are not forgotten, and that we do thank them for their service. That's my report.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next up, we have report from Councilwoman Virginia Parejo. Virginia?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to thank Sergeant Hearn, I hope I pronounced that right, for his service. And also, a couple of the parks in Ward 1 are in need of some attention. I'm asking that the field at Brown Street Park, as well as the basketball court at Friendship Park, be renovated. It will be based on getting the budget passed, but I would really like to see these two parks get the TLC they need. And that's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Virginia. Next up, we have Vice President of Council, Tom Lyon. Mr. Vice President?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to also touch on International Women's Day. As someone with 5 sisters who are all very successful in their careers, it's good to see the advancement. I was looking at I'm a Teamster, and we have a Teamsters Health and Welfare Fund. And when I joined the Teamsters in 1986 and you looked at leadership positions, it was mostly men. When you look at it now, all the leadership positions at our Health and Welfare and Pension Fund are women, except for one gentleman who is in the leadership position, including your mother, Carolyn.
Yes,
Yep,
yeah.
she's listed there. So I think that's a great thing, and we have a ways to go on that front, especially with salaries, but it's a good step in the right direction. Congratulations to Sean Hearn. It's great for his service and everything that he does. I was able to attend the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Mount Holly, and it was a really beautiful day, well attended, and our resident Tim Murphy was there, and he did a great job, and everybody was having a good time out there that day. Also would like to report that the project that the county's doing on Creek Road running up to Laurel Run Park, where the Farmers Against Hunger, that's moving along. They're in the planning stage because they're going to run sewer up to there so they can have a fully operational facility. And it also help our residents along that stretch. I believe there's 3 houses that don't have the sewer connection. So once the sewer goes in, if they choose to connect in, then they will be able to do so. Also, it's my understanding that the county did come out and inspect Hartford Road, right there by Fairview, where the shopping center is, because that's pretty tore up right now. So they're going to look to take care of that stretch of road, because that's a county road now. Also, I'd like to say the weather's going to start getting nicer, so get out there, take a walk through one of our parks, go get your fishing license, go fishing. It's all going to be. I renewed my fishing license today, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And with that, that's it.
Great, thank you, Mr. Vice President, appreciate it. From our report, the good thing about going last is everyone previously said everything, so I just want to echo their comments, recognize International Women's Day, and to congratulate Sergeant Hearn. I want to also thank Lynn for jumping up and taking the lead, with the Veterans Program. I know it's an uphill battle, but it's one was brought to us by Mr. Gilbert, so we're glad that you did that, right? Didn't you bring that to us, Mr. Gilbert? And the Veterans Program, I'm pretty sure you brought it over, so we thank you for doing that. Lynn, thank you for taking lead to help get that done. It's going to be a process, but we'll make it happen. So with that, that concludes my report. So we'll now go to public comments. So at this time, I will open the floor to public comments. I need a motion and a second, please.
So moved, Tom Lyon.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We are now open to public comment. Just to be clear, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand and you will be recognized. Thankfully, we don't have to do that on Zoom anymore, so you'll be recognized and you can approach the podium in the front. Just please use your outdoor voice. The microphone is not the greatest microphone, so please use your outdoor voice so we can record it for the record. State your name and address as well for the record. All remarks should be addressed to the council. As a whole, an individual speaker shall be allotted 5 minutes of time, and all statements are part of the public record, which is both written and video and audio recorded, and therefore cannot be redacted or retracted after the fact. So with that, we will entertain folks who want to speak. If you could just please raise your hand and you will be recognized. Mr. Gilbert? It's all yours.
Bob Gilbert, 75 Stewart Avenue, Delran. I want to thank the township, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, and town council. I'm very happy to hear about the veterans program going forward. Are we close to it or what?
Lynn would know a lot more. I mean, it's a lengthy application, right, Lynn?
Yeah, there are pages and pages of things that we can do, putting signs up, social parking. Out of the 145 points you need to qualify, by my guess that we take the low-hanging fruit, we can get to 115 points pretty quickly.
I just have a few things and
Sure.
try to get out of here for you, out of your hair. There's been a rumor that the American Legion shut down. It did not. We are open. I was there Friday. It is the first Friday of every month at 7:30 at night. So any rumor that the American Legion closed for good is erroneous. It does not happen. Okay. I understand, Mr. President, the Corps of Army Engineers has been talking about down there at Riverside Park.
Yes.
And I've heard that you want people that live down there to have their influence or their say to the Corps of Army Engineers. How does that stand right now?
Well, so we have, they sent us a letter. They want to move forward with the next phase of the study. It is my understanding, I don't want to speak prematurely, but it's in the budget process. We have to fund $200,000 to move forward in the concept phase. They go through and do a bunch of concepts, concept A, concept B, concept C, and figures out which would work best for down there. And they do computer modeling and all that. So the mayor and the administration, in my understanding, that's in the budget. The intention is to move forward with that. So in a couple of months, we'll be adopting that budget, hopefully, and we'll be moving forward with that.
With that, when would the residents down there that are interested talking to the court be invited?
You probably don't need to do that now at this point because they're already interested. I mean, the truth is, it doesn't hurt to send your congressman or congresswoman a letter. We have Andy Kim. Feel free to send him a letter that you support the project. You want to make sure there's funding. Definitely doesn't hurt the process. Yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt. And then, I would like to see. I spoke to the mayor about it earlier today. Eventually, once we fund that project, hopefully, when and if we do, we can have a town hall with the residents down there to make sure everybody's aware of what's going on and the process.
I don't know if anybody's been down there recently. We got 2 more trees ready to go into the water. If you look at low tide is tomorrow around 2 o'clock because we flood. I know the tide. If you're down there around 2 o'clock for whatever reason, you'll see the bank that you see now is 1/3 of what it used to be. And you'll see the dirt or the bank, which is now in the Rancocas Creek. During the summer, especially in August, if you didn't sink in the mud, you could walk to the island. That's how low the water level is because there's so much of the bank from the Riverside section, Delran section, from all the way up to the sewer plant, that's all in the Rancocas Creek now. And somehow, I know nobody likes to hear the word dredging, but that stuff needs to come out because that's part of the bank. That doesn't exist anymore. And like I said, there's 2 trees ready to go in the water. If you go down to the end of Stewart Avenue, if you make the right-hand turn, there's this tree here and this one over here, they're ready to go in the water. So the bank is still regressing. We're losing more and more bank every day. One of the big things that was a problem is when the township, I don't know, not knowingly, they cut the face of the bank. And by doing that, you kill all the rooted plants that were growing there, and that's what made the bank go away faster. I know there's people down there that some of them, they bought a house right on the water there and they want to be able to see the water. That's fine. But you can't cut the face of the bank because that's what holds all that dirt together, all those roots and stuff. Okay. We expect Mission of Honor, the burials again. Hopefully, we might get one in March, but I won't count on it. Depends on the weather. We're really shooting for April, but I have to talk to the chaplain of Mission of Honor. Anybody that's interested in going, if you never, Mr. Jennings went to one, he kind of really enjoyed it. He said it was something really nice to see how we take care of unclaimed remains of veterans. It's something that you will never forget if you go one time. And as soon as I have a confirmation of an actual date that we're going to bury veterans again at the Royal Cemetery, I will let you know.
Mr. Gilbert, you're coming up on your 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, I know. Quick question. Can I get, and I don't know if can I get the amount of surplus that the township has and the amount of surplus that's in the sewer authority? Is that a problem or not?
Yeah, we can definitely get, Jamie, can we get him, somebody?
As soon as we have confirmation from the auditors,
Okay.
and it would be I'm sorry, and it would be the sewer department, there's no longer a sewerage authority.
But my recommendation is if you can wait till we do the budget, that'll have all the numbers approved by the auditors.
When would that be?
When do we deliver?
I think if we're gonna go along that schedule there, probably on or about, introduction time in the early part of April or mid-April.
That's gonna give you the most up-to-date. We can get you the numbers from last year's budget pretty easily, but my recommendation is to wait. Yep.
Now, I saw in the closed session, I know you can't talk about it right now and all that. When you guys, I assume, I'm assuming this, because I really don't know, because I've never been in a closed session. When you all talk about that stuff, then do you bring it to the public?
Yeah, it's highly regulated. There's only a certain handful of things we can discuss in a closed session. And if there's any action that's going to be taken, it all is to be taken in the public session. That'd be correct. All right, we really got to wrap up here. We kind of keep everybody in the same playing field.
One last thing, one real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm a member of 3020 also. As soon as possible, I just talked to the senior vice, and we're going to start doing contribution at the VFW for the people for Ukraine.
That'd be great.
We have a lot of ladies that need items, and they also need toiletries and soap and blankets and jackets and whatever we can give them. We've set it up. We have to take it, the guy's got a van, we're gonna take it up to New Hanover, and from there it gets shipped out. But I don't know how long we're gonna run it, as long as there's participation and people wanna make donations for the people of Ukraine, we'll do it. All right?
Council President, may I ask a question on that?
Sure, go ahead.
Bob, I mean, this is not an issue, but how much of that money or donations will go directly to the Ukrainian people?
As far as I know, everything, because it's not gonna be any money.
Okay,
It's gonna be items.
goods,
We
okay,
want items.
okay.
That's what, like I said, toiletries, toothbrushes, coats, jackets, whatever.
Okay.
Bathroom tissue, I mean, anything.
Necessities. Yeah.
That would help them out, because they're in a hard place right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything we can do to help,
Thank
send
you.
it over to us. We can get it on the website, social media, and things of that
I'm
nature to
gonna-
help out.
I
Okay?
have a meeting on the 15th at the VFW. and I'm
Just
gonna
let us
talk to the commander, and I'll talk to the vice commander again. You made a very good choice in the vice commander. He is a very good man. I
Great.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for your time. Appreciate it. Any other comments from the public? Ms. Littleton? State your name and address for the record, please. And
Barbara Littleton, I'd rather not state my actual address, but I do live in Dublin. I want to thank everyone. I do notice the little things, and I really thank you for the podium. It makes it easier when we come up here if we have something that we have written down. So I really, really thank you guys. It shows that you care, and that's one of the things. The other thing is I want to thank you for putting the notice out on the billboard out front about the meeting earlier, so that people could sort of kind of plan for it and be able to come in. So thank you for those little things. Wanted to give a little, I'm not sure if you're aware, Jeff Hacker is still listed as the township administrator, business administrator on the website. So,
Excuse me, Barb, not as of today. I
saw
noticed,
it earlier today.
I noticed it today and we had it changed.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a couple of places it's out there too, so just be aware of that. So, I just wanted to let you know that. Wanted to ask a question, has anyone from the township notified, the gift of the Dublin engagement?
the answer is yes.
I don't wanna get back into that same situation, so. Now, this is something to think about, and I'm not an attorney, so I can't say for sure if this is even possible. But, I believe Solicitor Sister Alliance,
You just call him Sal, it's fine.
yeah, Solicitor Sal, provided advice to the township that you didn't need to notify the gift when Dumpy filed his appeal. if that's the case, has anyone from the township looked in to see if we could possibly file a claim against his insurance for that advice that we got, given the insurance company had said that it should have been notified, the first notification should have been during that appeal process. So I just wanted to know that.
I don't know that that's been stated. That was handled through our prior administrator. It did not, I don't believe, result in us not being covered for the claim. So I don't know what harm we would have endured in order to file a claim.
Well, actually, what you have endured is you paid out $300,000 minus the $75,000 that the insurance had given you, based upon the advice that you didn't need to notify.
I don't know that we received that advice, ma'am.
Well,
I'm sorry.
that's what I'm saying, is has anyone looked into it to see if that's a possibility?
That typically would be our contact with the JIF, and that was Jeff. I'm not sure, but we could look at it, sure.
Yeah, look into it, it doesn't hurt to look into it any way that we can say, and that's what I'm trying to do here, is how we can save the taxpayers money. That's my sole purpose in coming to these meetings, and learn for the future. You know, we can't fix the past, but we can learn for the future. So I did ask for a cost summary through the machine request, through an over request, about the CME Associates site survey for the Dumpy property that was done in, the report was given in March, but the township requested that in February. So what was the purpose of that site survey? Because that was after the appeal. So, because it was like $3,000 that the township paid for that site survey to see any associates. So I'm just trying to figure out what's the rationale on that.
Yeah, the purpose of that, I think it's well established, the township was interested in buying the property, so there was discussion about what were the bounds, the property lines, and what was wetlands, what were the options available.
And did
to the
they have
township.
access to Dumpy's property for that site survey?
Sure.
Or was that also?
Of course they did.
So Dumpy provided the approval to go on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I was just trying to make sure. This has nothing to do with any person specifically, so I have no problem with the communication director. But here again, I'm just trying to make sure we safeguard the township with these questions, so please don't be offended by the question. So, does the township have a business license for WL Mitchell?
We have all the licensing that's required for our consultant, yes.
Because as part of the over request, the township provided some of the documentation. We have a business license for Wendy Mitchell, but not WL Mitchell, and I don't know if that could have a potential problem with the insurance that is for WL Mitchell. So if we don't have the business license, there could potentially be an issue if anyone sued the township, and the township sued Ms. Mitchell because of her obligations. I don't know if we would be able to end that.
I mean, the good news with that is the administration and the CFO, luckily our CFO is a stickler, and I mean that in the most respectful way. She does a great job, and she does not cash things, or write checks unless she has the right paperwork. So I'm aware that she has made sure that the right things are there.
I can see it's not there.
There may have changed since the last time you made the Oprah
This was
request.
just the other day.
Okay.
Just the other
I mean, I'll defer to the administration on that, but I'm told.
We'll look at it again, but I know that whatever the CFO requested was delivered.
Yeah, if someone, and this is just to protect us, we have an attorney on file, see if we can get an attorney review of the insurance deductibles coverages to make sure that the town.
Right, so
Good. But if you, I'm giving everyone a little extra time because they let go, but I'm trying to be fair. So, okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much. Nice to see you in person. All right, any other comments or questions by the public? Mr. Duff? state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is, this mic's not on, so like the people on YouTube can't hear anything.
We're getting it here.
I see it moving. It's definitely
Is
going
the
up.
green light on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just making sure, because when we were looking on YouTube, we couldn't hear it. And I waited outside purposefully. I didn't want to come in with anybody, because there were some comments made by Mr. Denny that somebody got within 2 inches of his face, that my constantly 2 inches of his face, which is an absolute lie. It never happened. If it did happen, then I have to ask, when did it happen? What day did it happen?
Well, Mr. Duff, the day that you, I think it was the first time you spoke, Mr. Lyon and I were walking out the front door, and you and I think Scott were together. And as we went out the door, I had asked, there were a number of people who didn't have masks on, which we required. And I just asked, will you please put your mask on, or you can, go outside and talk outside. And I proceeded to the door. Well, Scott jumped in my face and started screaming, well, Mr. Burrell didn't have his mask on before the meeting. And he continued as we walked out the door without saying a word, Mr. Lyon and I. He followed us out the door, and you called him back as he followed us down the sidewalk. Do you remember that?
I'm going to, so Chris Littleton.
Do you remember that, sir?
Right.
No, I do not.
You do not? You're a liar then.
Either you're senile or you're a liar. One or the other.
Mr. Duff,
So I
All
don't
right.
know which
you know
one.
what? There were
Right.
other
But I'm
people.
going to tell you something. I did not come in purposefully, so you could not lie again.
There were other
I don't know
people
if you
there.
agree with me, so you can't lie again.
There were other people there who can.
So why did you press charges until you get 2 inches from your face?
I was a bigger man and walked away.
Is there video of this?
I was a bigger man and walked away, Mr. Duff.
All right,
Stop
Mr.
playing your
Mr.
games,
Duff.
please. That's
Mr.
all I
Duff.
have to say.
This man made an application.
Mr. Duff.
To a false light. That we, the police, were refusing to use.
All right.
And he didn't make any comment. I've been coming here for what, 5 months? And you had to wait till last week to tell everybody somebody's got 2 inches of his face, only after you became on the hot seat, because you should have recused yourself. That's just the honest truth. You should have recused yourself in the Dumpy litigation.
Mr. Duff,
And if you
there's
want
so
that
many
done,
false.
then you should go to the attorney. Listen, I'm speaking.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You got bad advice. That's one thing. But you don't have to call me a carpetbagger because you got bad advice. I never claimed I got I'm talking to Mr. Lyon. I never claimed I got $7,000 from any municipality. I did tell you I'd sue you and win, and that's going to happen. You're going to settle tonight. If you don't, that's just silly. You're going to cost the client even more money. I warned you at least 10 times about that lawsuit. There was no reason to redact the images. And if you want to redact them, I don't care. I'm not looking. I want to show that event, by the way, was not as well attended as was said, thousands of people. I want to show these allegations that you made about somebody getting 2 inches in your face. And you put on the record that you waited 5 months to state that. 5 months to state that. If somebody got within 2 inches of my face, and any of you, I would have said that. I said right away at that 11-9 meeting, I got a death threat online. So they're going to shoot me in the face. And it was the 11-9 meeting that you claimed that happened. And now, Mr. Lyon, the week before, after the line, you claimed the week before that my associate just made fun of your sweater. You said nothing about 2 inches from Mr. Jenny's face. Did you see somebody get 2 inches from Mr. Jenny's face in the line?
We just keep, Mr. Duff, this is not a productive use. I understand, Mr. Duff.
This is something people get arrested for. Lies like this.
Well, the good news is nobody's been arrested and nobody's going to be arrested right now. Let's have an orderly meeting. I understand.
I have an issue with that. So.
Mr. Duff, I'll rely on anyone who was there. If they want to be honest, they can testify, and that's exactly what happened. I'm not in the habit of lying, sir, and you're really talking about so many false facts, and then you weave them into a narrative. That's what you do. That's why I have nothing else to say.
I really want to finish this. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Let's, yeah, thank you.
This is it. And I'm telling you, when somebody makes up false allegations that somebody threatened them or got 2 inches in their face, that's a point where somebody's also willing to then make up lies or somebody's going to get arrested. And that's not going to happen to me. And that's why I'm going to leave before you guys have your discussion tonight. And but let me state this clearly. Okay, if you got bad advice from the solicitor who resigned, that's one thing. And admit it. You should have refused yourself. That's not just my opinion. That's the opinion of anybody that's involved in any type of politics that bad, any political field, any ethics attorney. Okay, refusals of yourself to sit on the welcoming committee. Think about that. To sit on the welcome committee, you're sitting on the welcome committee. It doesn't benefit you at all, but it surely benefited you to spend the $225,000 or $335,000 taxpayers' money and not go through the insurance company. You did not go through the insurance company. You did not file on time. You were alerted well before. I need to put this in the record, Mayor. And Mayor, listen, this is what I'd like to ask for. You guys want to talk about a lawsuit? False light you put me in, claiming I said bribery and coercion took place on it.
Mr. Duff, you got about a minute left.
You want to ask me for an apology? I'm asking you for an apology. Be a man, and the township faces a defamation suit. Just do it. Just say you're sorry. I'm not a carpetbagger. I didn't do it for money. You know, you want to be elected representatives. Somebody should question you sometimes. You don't want to attack me. I have a hit flag about me that says I faked my cancer to sell CBD products. Do you guys agree with that? You think that's okay? Well, that's what you legitimize by your attitude.
No, sir, that's not true.
That is what you do.
This is
Right,
the
thank
tale you weave, sir.
The tale I weave is a blog about me that says I faked my cancer to sell CBD.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the other
You know what?
false
The only
things you
person
said.
that ever
All right.
mentioned that blog, online or anywhere, was the mayor. And you, Tyler, at a council meeting. Nobody was talking about it on Facebook. Nobody posted on Facebook. But the mayor brought it up at a meeting that this blog was out. The blog, by the way, I'm going to catch the individual.
Thank you, Mr. Duff. Any other comments, questions from the public? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor. Wrong button. And second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Our public comment is closed. Floor is closed. And now I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session with Resolution 2022-58, authorizing executive session to discuss Duff versus Delran Township litigation.
So moved, Tom Lyon.
Second?
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye, the ayes have it. The resolution's adopted. We will now go into executive session. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask everyone to leave so we can go into executive session. We don't plan to be long, and then we'll be back to take All right, we're going to come back from our, Tom's talking about fishing too much. We're back in our public meeting following our closed session. Jamie, we're on the record, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. So at this time, I'm going to ask for council to adopt Resolution 2022-59. This is authorizing our interim solicitor to negotiate with plaintiff's counsel pursuant to the terms discussed in closed session. Can you get a motion and a second?
So moved, Tom Lyon.
Second.
Amy, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Ms. Pareo?
Aye.
Mr. Lyons?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it, the resolution carries. And next up, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, guys.